Valve just announced 3 brand new pieces of Steam hardware. A new Steam controller, a tiny but powerful Steam machine, and a next-gen VR headset called Steam Frame. And honestly, this might be the most exciting Steam announcement since the Steam Deck, especially if you are someone who switches between Deck and PC every day. Using a PlayStation 5 controller for years, constantly resyncing it between devices, so the idea of having a dedicated Steam controller, it immediately locks our interest. The Steam machine looks like a mini powerhouse. We'd love to slot it under the TV, and Steam Frame, if it really runs as a standalone PC VR headset, we might actually replace our Meta Quest 3. But let us talk what all of this could cost, what worries us, and
what genuinely impresses us.
The new Steam controller is... Now you go away now, Zena. You and your talking the microphone whenever I'm doing this. The new Steam controller is honestly the one that I'm mostly excited for, because it feels like Valve finally took everything they learned from the first one, all the cool ideas, all the flaws, and rebuild it into something that might actually become a legit competitor to Xbox and PlayStation's controllers. Here's what stands out for me. It keeps the signature trackpads, which makes it perfect for genres that normally feel off on controllers, such as strategy games, CRPGs, management sims, and anything with lots of menus. But now it has the proper D-pad, better stickers, and a layout that feels much more closer to a modern premium controller. And the big selling point for me? Customization. Valve is leaning fully into pre-game config again, letting you tailor your controller to literally anything you play. For someone like me who jumps from retro platformers, shooters, indie titles, and CRPGs, this controller could become the do-everything option I use on PC and even on the handheld dock. If Valve nails the build quality and keeps the price reasonable, this could be the PC gaming controller for the next few years. And speaking of hardware, that could shake things up. Let's move on to the one I think it sits behind it in my hype rating, the new Steam machine.
The return of the Steam machine honestly surprised us, but in a good way. The first attempt years ago was messy, too many manufacturers, inconsistent hardware, unclear identity. This time though, Valve seems to be doing something much smarter, treating it as a dedicated, streamlined PC console built specifically for the Steam ecosystem. Here's why we are excited about this. While Vash is all about Steam controller first and this second, it is shaped like a console but still runs Steam OS, meaning you get the simplicity of a living room console with the flexibility of PC gaming. Valve is focusing on one unified design instead of dozens of mismatched machines, which should make performance and support way more consistent. But of course, you can customize it by adding custom-made plates to make it as you like it. It is clearly meant to be a plug-and-play box for your TV that pairs perfectly with the new Steam controller. And the best part, it gives people access to their massive Steam libraries without needing a full gaming PC tower. For someone Vash who already uses the Steam Deck as a portable and the desktop for editing and work, the Steam machine fills a really nice middle space. A living room device that just boots up and plays without fiddling with settings. But even with how much we like this idea, the next device on the list is the one that surprised us the most, the new Steam Frame and what Valve is doing with it.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. Steam Frame is Valve's coming back to VR in a big way. Not just with another headset, but with something that blends standalone VR, PC VR, and fully SteamOS functionality in one device. Here's what stands out for me. It's its own PC. That's the part that blows my mind. You're not just streaming from your desktop. You can literally install VR and non-VR games directly in your headset. Camera-based tracking instead of base stations. Much more convenient and instantly more appealing for everyday use. Magnetic thumbsticks and capacitive sensors carry over from the Steam controller. This could give the controller a huge advantage in precision and durability. And finally, dedicated Wi-Fi 6 adapter for streaming PC games. This tells me Valve is prioritizing latency and they want the experience to rival or even surpass the tethered VR. But that remains to be seen. Now here's where my personal opinion comes in. I currently own a Meta Quest 3 and I bought it about a year ago, maybe even more. I customized it, I got it more comfortable, bought a charging station, I've invested into it. But the moment Valve said this thing is a standalone PC, my ears perked up. My biggest question is, will Steam Frame actually support MetaQuest games? Probably not at launch, but if it's truly an open system running SteamOS, there could be possibilities, ports, or even sideloading in the future. And honestly, if Steam Frame delivers everything, Valve is promising performance, comfort, freedom, and Steam level openness. I'd generally consider selling my Quest 3 and switch over. Not immediately, but definitely down the line. Now, of course, the big question everyone has after an announcement like this, okay, how much all of this is going to cost? Valve didn't give us a number, but based on what we know, the current market, and the hardware inside these devices, we can make some pretty educated guesses. So let's start first about the Steam controller. The new Steam controller looks pretty premium, but not overpriced. Magnetic stickers, gyro, back buttons, capacitive sensors, all of that usually puts a controller in the mid-range price bracket. I personally think Valve wants this to be accessible since it's meant to pair with everything. Steam Deck, PC, Steam Machine, Steam Frame, all of it. So my guess is between $50 to $70. Affordable enough that people's impulse buy it, but still premium enough to justify the new tech inside. And honestly, this is the one I'm mostly picking up day one. I've been using the PlayStation 5 controller a lot, but switching it between Steam Deck and PC can be annoying sometimes. Syncing, unsyncing, resyncing, having a dedicated controller just for Steam is extremely appealing.
This one is trickier. Valve said it is 6 times more powerful than a Steam Deck. It runs 4K at 60 FPS with FSR. It has a discrete semi-custom AMD GPU. It is tiny, quiet, and basically a full living room PC designed for SteamOS. That's a lot of tech in a small box. If they want to compete with consoles, they need to price it competitively. My best estimate, somewhere between $700 and $1,000. On the lower end, if Valve wants it to compete with the PS5 Pro or Xbox Series hardware. On the higher end, if it is closer to a small form PC with advanced cooling and that custom GPU. And for me personally, it is really cool. I like the idea of having a tiny SteamOS machine for the TV, but because we already have a Steam Deck, this is not the top priority for us. It is more like nice to have eventually.
Now let's talk about the Steam Frame. VR is where things get spicy. The Meta Quest 3 already sits around $500 range depending on the storage. The Valve Index launched at $999 for the full kit. Steam Frame is basically a standalone VR PC. It's also a PC VR headset. It has SteamOS as operating system. It's wireless, streaming with dedicated Wi-Fi hardware. It got new controllers with magnetic sticks and an eye-optimized foveated streaming tech and upgradable storage. That's a lot of hardware and research. So for the Steam Frame, I can see it very easily being over $500 on the low end, possibly even $700 to $900 depending on the specs, storage, and bundles. Given the Meta Quest 3 price and what Valve dedicated with the Index, I'd be honestly shocked if it wasn't above $500. And depending how good it really is, yeah, I could probably see myself selling my Quest 3 sometimes later and moving on to Steam Frame, especially since everything I play, VR or non-VR, lives on my Steam library anyway.
So yeah, overall, this entire announcement honestly surprised us in the best way possible. Valve didn't just update the Steam Deck, they expanded the whole ecosystem, and what we really like is that everything feels optional. You don't need all three, you just pick the one that fits your lifestyle.
Either way, 2026 is looking interesting for Steam fans. Valve seems to be locked on giving us choices, and honestly, I kinda love it.
If you're enjoying these breakdowns and want to stay up to date with everything happening around Steam and PC gaming, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, sharing which device you are most excited for, and of course, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you missed our most recent video, how to downgrade any game on Steam, definitely definitely check that out next. It is super helpful if you ever need to roll back a game version, especially with how often updates can break things these days. It pairs really well with today's topic since we are talking about getting the best experience out of your games. Anyway, that's all from us today. God bless, stay safe, and happy gaming.
Humble starts, the hunter and the dreamer say, together